The wedding day was supposed to be mine. After 2 years of endless planning, fighting with vendors about flowers, going through 30 different shades of blush pink, and patiently saving every spare penny with my fiancé Michael, I had finally reached the morning of my big day. I wanted everything to be perfect. The theme was elegant but simple: soft roses, gold accents, and a warm romantic atmosphere. My bridesmaids were dressed in light blush gowns, the groomsmen had navy suits, and I had my dream dress, a lace A-line gown with a long, flowing veil. But of course, I had underestimated just how far my stepsister Clara would go to turn my spotlight into hers. Clara had always been the center of attention girl. She wasn't satisfied unless every eye in the room followed her. When Dad married her mom, I was 14, she was 16, and from that very first dinner as a blended family, she treated me like competition. If I wore something new, she'd wear something flashier. If I brought home an award, she bragged about a bigger accomplishment. If I had friends over, she found a way to make them like her more. Through the years, I learned to live with it. She was exhausting, but I figured as long as she wasn't outright cruel, I could tolerate her. Still, in the back of my mind, I always feared she would do something dramatic at my wedding. And I was right. The first hints came early. At my bridal shower, she walked in late, like she always does, wearing a glittering cocktail dress that made her look like the guest of honor. She laughed it off, saying, "Oh, I thought it was supposed to be semi-formal," even though the invitations had clearly said casual chic. Then came the bridesmaid dress drama. I had chosen soft blush pink, the kind of color that looks timeless in photos. All my bridesmaids agreed, except Clara. "Pink isn't really my color," she complained. "Can't I wear something more striking? Maybe emerald green, or even gold?" "You don't want me looking washed out, do you?" I wanted to scream, but instead, I calmly said, "It's important to me that all the bridesmaids match." "Please, Clara." She rolled her eyes, muttered something under her breath, and pretended to agree. But I knew her too well, her fake smile told me this wasn't over. At the rehearsal dinner, she pushed further. Everyone else wore cocktail dresses or neat semi-formal outfits. Clara showed up in a floor-length sequined silver gown with a neckline plunging so low it made people gasp. My mom whispered to me, "She looks like she's going to the Oscars." Guests gave her side glances, but she thrived under the attention, twirling and laughing as though it was her night, not mine. But all of that was nothing compared to what happened on the actual wedding morning. I was in the bridal suite, sipping champagne with my bridesmaids, when the door opened, and in walked Clara. For a split second, the room went dead silent. She wasn't in the blush bridesmaid dress. She wasn't in a cocktail dress. She was in a wedding gown. A glittering white mermaid-style gown, with sequins that sparkled under the lights, a sweetheart neckline, and a long train trailing dramatically behind her. My heart dropped. Emily, my maid of honor, nearly choked on her mimosa. "Clara," she said, her voice sharp, "what the hell are you wearing?" Clara's lips curled into a smug little smile. "Oh, this? It's just a gown I wore to a gala last year. I thought it would be perfect for pictures. Don't worry, it's different from yours. Yours has lace, mine has sequins. Totally different vibes." The room buzzed with whispers. My bridesmaids were horrified, staring at her like she had grown 2 heads. I swallowed hard, my throat dry. "Clara," I said, trying not to scream, "you cannot wear white. You know that." She tilted her head, feigning innocence. "Why not? Everyone knows you're the bride. Are you really that insecure?" Her words stung, and for a moment, I could feel tears burning behind my eyes. This was supposed to be the happiest day of my life, and here she was, hijacking it. When my mom saw her, she was livid. "Clara, this is beyond inappropriate. Take it off. Now." But my stepmom, Clara's mother, stepped in. "Oh, come on, it's not that big of a deal. She just wants to look nice too. It's not like people will mistake her for the bride." "Not a big deal?" Emily snapped. "She's literally wearing a wedding dress." The tension in the room was suffocating. Clara crossed her arms, clearly enjoying the chaos she'd caused. "Well, I'm not changing. If you have such a problem with it, that's on you." I couldn't believe it. My stepsister had actually worn a wedding gown to my wedding. And somehow, her mom was defending her. But karma has a funny way of working things out. As the clock ticked closer to the ceremony, tension in the bridal suite reached a breaking point. Clara strutted around as if the world had already crowned her the star of the day. My bridesmaids whispered frantic plans, trying to figure out how to salvage the moment, while my mom and I stood frozen, unsure how to handle this public spectacle without causing a scene. Michael arrived early, all smiles, but froze when he stepped into the room. "What is going on here?" he asked, eyes darting between Clara in her sparkling white gown and me in my lace dress. "Clara decided to wear that," I muttered, voice tight with frustration. Michael's jaw dropped. "Seriously? To your wedding?" Clara smirked, pretending to be charming. "Relax, it's all in good fun. People know who the real bride is." Michael's eyes narrowed. "She can't do this," he said, stepping closer to me. "We're not letting her ruin your day." I felt a surge of relief. Finally, someone on my side. Together, Michael, Emily, and I hatched a quick plan. The ceremony was in 30 minutes, and we needed to neutralize Clara's ridiculous stunt before she walked down the aisle. First, Emily distracted Clara with compliments on her hair, leading her towards the mirror. "Oh, you look stunning," Emily gushed. "But, that veil really needs a little adjustment." As Clara fiddled with her over-the-top gown, Michael gently suggested, "Hey, maybe a quick change into something a little less bridal?" Clara bristled. "Why should I change? I look perfect." Emily leaned in, whispering just loud enough for Clara to hear, "The wedding planner said there's a strict dress code for photos. If you don't change, they might not let you stand with the party for the pictures." Clara hesitated, uncertainty flickering across her face. She hadn't counted on anyone challenging her, and suddenly, the attention wasn't all hers. Meanwhile, I slipped into the hallway to take a deep breath. I couldn't let her ruin this day. It wasn't just about dresses, it was about feeling powerless. I refused to let her overshadow my wedding. As guests began arriving, Clara continued to argue quietly with Emily and Michael. But with each passing moment, her confidence faltered. She realized she might actually miss the photo opportunities she so desperately craved if she didn't comply. Finally, she stormed off to the changing room, muttering about unfair rules. Within 10 minutes, she emerged in a modest blush-colored dress, simple, elegant, and harmonious with the rest of the bridesmaids. The moment she stepped back into the suite, the tension evaporated like mist in the morning sun. The ceremony began, and as I walked down the aisle, all eyes were on me, not Clara. Michael's smile was brighter than ever, my bridesmaids glowed in their matching gowns, and the room radiated love and joy. Even Clara, seated quietly with her mother, couldn't steal a single glance away from the real star of the day. After the ceremony, the reception was a whirlwind of dancing, laughter, and heartfelt speeches. Clara tried to mingle and draw attention, but every attempt fell flat. Guests praised the wedding's elegance, complimented the couple, and shared photos of my gown, my smile, and the flawless decorations. Clara's gown, once a shining attempt to eclipse me, now seemed like a desperate memory of a failed stunt. Later, as we were taking formal family photos, Clara approached me. I braced myself for a confrontation. I didn't mean to cause trouble," she said quietly. I looked her in the eyes, and for a moment, I saw vulnerability instead of arrogance. I took a deep breath. I know. But today was supposed to be about love, not competition. I hope you understand that. She nodded, and for the first time, a genuine smile replaced her usual smirk. I get it. Congratulations. You deserve this day. That was all I needed to hear. The drama had passed, and the wedding was ours, undeniably, unquestionably, and beautifully. As the night ended, Michael and I stole a quiet moment on the balcony. You handled that so well, he said, holding my hand. I was worried for a moment, but you were amazing. I leaned against him, finally letting the stress melt away. Thanks, but I couldn't have done it without you, Emily, and Mom. And, maybe Clara learned something too. Whether Clara truly had learned her lesson remained to be seen. But for today, at least, the spotlight shone where it should, on the bride, radiant and unshakable. And in the end, that's what mattered. The days after the wedding were surprisingly peaceful. Clara kept a low profile, attending family gatherings without any dramatic displays. For the first time, I realized that maybe our relationship could improve, not overnight, but slowly, step by step. The honeymoon with Michael was a dream. Crystal clear beaches, sunset walks, and quiet dinners reminded me why I had chosen him, and why this day, despite Clara's chaos, was worth every stressful moment. I carried the memory of the wedding not as a story of tension, but as a tale of triumph. My stepsister tried to steal my spotlight, but love, planning, and a little quick thinking had preserved the magic. Weeks later, Clara reached out to me. At first, I was wary. But when I saw her genuine text, I felt a twinge of hope. I know I messed up at your wedding. I want to apologize properly. Coffee sometime? I hesitated, but Michael encouraged me. Sometimes, people really do learn. Give her a chance. I agreed. Over coffee, Clara admitted her envy and insecurity. She explained how she always felt overshadowed and how, when she saw me so happy, she panicked. Her honesty surprised me. It wasn't easy to admit such flaws, especially when she had always presented herself as flawless. I don't want to compete with you anymore, she said softly. I guess I wanted attention, and I forgot that today was your day. I smiled, feeling a weight lift off my shoulders. Thank you for saying that. That means a lot. And yes, today was my day. But I also hope we can move forward as stepsisters who actually like each other. From that day, our relationship slowly improved. Clara began attending events without trying to upstage anyone. She found hobbies and achievements she could be proud of without comparison. And I finally felt free to enjoy family gatherings without anticipating drama. Months later, we sat together, flipping through the wedding album. Clara laughed as she pointed at a photo where she had tried to sneak into the frame behind me, her arms flailing comically. I can't believe I did that, she said. You really thought you could steal the spotlight, I teased. She rolled her eyes, but smiled. Yeah, I did. And you handled it better than I deserved. That night, I realized something important. Life wasn't about perfection, or controlling every moment. It was about grace, patience, and forgiveness, even for someone who had once tried to sabotage your happiest day. In the end, my wedding day remained perfect. Not because of the flowers, dresses, or decorations, but because love had triumphed over drama, and family bonds had a chance to heal. Clara and I were stepsisters, yes, but more importantly, we were learning to be supportive, even if slowly. And I knew that no dress, no stunt, could ever overshadow the joy, laughter, and love that filled that day. As I looked back on the wedding, I couldn't help but laugh quietly to myself. Clara had tried. But life, and karma, had reminded her who truly belonged in the spotlight. And that, more than anything, felt like a victory worth celebrating.